Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. And that is none other than the incredible uh, Eric Stayberg. And he does, I came across his page on TikTok, and he does phenomenal impressions, and he's just a great guy. I want everybody to get introduced to him. First of all, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. The honor is ours. The first thing that we want to know is how did you get in? How did you know that you had a skill to do impersonations?
I mean, that's the thing. Um I didn't know that I had a skill actually until I started just making friends laugh. And it actually wasn't until like a few years ago that they're like, these are really good. Like I had a buddy named Sean, and he hired me to do what he called they were like videos like, do you remember, epic rap battles on YouTube?
No,
You heard
no.
of that? Okay. Well, it's pretty awesome. If you, yeah, you should probably check it out afterwards. Very funny. They're
Okay.
amazing at impressions and doing these like rap battles. And so he created this thing called World's Weirdest Rap Battles. And he hired me to be Tony Montana because I did like a Tony Montana Scarface,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
impression and everything like that. And he's like, and he's the one who really gave me the confidence to like, because he started booking me in a lot of stuff, and he's saying, you're so good at this, once you focus more of your energy on impressions because you're so good at voices. Before that I was just like, no, I'm an actor, I don't do impressions, that's not my thing, I'm not a niche guy, I can do everything. And it's like, no, I can't really. I'm more of like, doing the voices and a little bit of comedy and stuff like that. And I just I really just started when I was a kid. To
Mm.
be totally honest, I just started doing voices. I just loved voices for some reason.
Okay, great. Naima, thank you saying peace, and thank you to everybody who's watching all around the world. People are giving you, thumbs up and the heart emojis and all that good stuff. While we get started, we're about to hear some of these amazing impressions. Where can we find you on social media? Like, how do people?
Um, you can definitely find me on TikTok. Luckily, I'm the only Eric Stayberg in the world. So if you look up Eric Stayberg, you're not going to find anybody else. I'm on Instagram. However, I don't post as much there. I will start doing that. Um, yeah, I've made it more of a point to post on TikTok, but I will be incorporating Instagram posts more in the next few months. And so yeah, those are the two places you can find me.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Well, we're excited. We have a few more questions, but we want to get started. Um, I went through all your TikToks and was looking at, all of them were great. But can we, one of my favorite villains of all time, I think he was right on a lot of stuff, goes by the name of Bane. Can we hear your
Ooh,
Bane?
okay. Actually, give me one quick second. This will amplify the impression a little bit more. So hold
Okay, okay, let's get
on
into
one
it.
second.
Thank you, everybody who's watching. We're in our Pacific time. This is for more of our West Coast people who are watching. And, y'all gonna be impressed. Okay, you're
This
listening,
proves
sir.
that we're live because like I didn't have this prepared.
Okay.
Perhaps he was wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane. It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan. No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
Excellent. Yes, sir. Now, as someone who loves that character but also loves the film, how many times do you have to watch it before before you develop that? How does that work?
That's the thing. Like, I think with me, it's like, okay, if I really like the actor and I really like the character, I kind of take to it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Like with the Bane one, it did take me a while because he has a lot of intricacies to his voice. It's not just one tone. Like he's got, I mean, he's such a good actor. Tom Hardy is brilliant. I love that
Yeah,
guy. It's one of my
yeah.
favorites. And so like at first I have an idea of it. It's like, oh, okay, it's like a drunk Sean Connery, if anybody knows Sean Connery out there. But it's like, oh, it's like, oh, yeah, you're like, like talking like Sean Connery if he's just wasted or something like that. You're like, yes, money penny, just like all that kind of stuff. But it's like, no, but then it's like you gotta shout a little bit, go higher and more in some spots and everything, and have a little bit of a rasp down here. Like, I mean, and so then I started like smoothing it out, and I would watch the movie over and over because I love that character. It's one of the interesting things about Batman movies is I love Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love the character of Batman.
Okay.
But I would have to admit, like maybe I'm in, maybe I'm in the minority here. I think the villains are more interesting typically in Batman movies than Batman
Absolutely.
himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, like Heath Ledger's Joker. Oh.
Okay, let's start with Heath Ledger's Joker. Okay, let's start with Heath.
Oh man, that one I still have a hard time doing that one. Like I've seen other guys do it and they're just brilliant at it. Just absolutely brilliant. Like I've gotten down a little bit of his cadences and I got down his laugh. Like but like some of his cadences and his nuances, because like that's one of the most nuanced performances you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, forget about like a comic book character and like, oh, it's a cool like movie and good performance. It's like, no, that's one of the best. There's a reason why he won, and it wasn't just because like, I heard a bunch of crap after the fact that they gave it only to him because he passed away, and I'm like, no, if he was alive, he would have absolutely won that. I mean, I don't agree with. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss here, but like,
hey, it's fine.
I mean, I don't agree with that shit. Not one bit. Like, not one bit. He would have won. So because it was brilliant. But that one I have a little bit harder time. But I guess maybe my vocal resonance, my vocal range is more in line with Tom Hardy's than Heath Ledger's.
Okay.
And maybe that's why it's just a little harder. But the laugh I got down. I do have
that,
the laugh down.
That was very impressive. And my sister Naeem was watching it. She would laugh because I used to do my Mike Tyson is impeccable. Muhammad Ali,
Nice.
Denzel, I'm pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Not on your level, but just for the record, I'm pretty good at it. And she would get sick of me doing impressions over and over every time I watched it. And Bane, I never tried to such Joker, but Bane, I definitely was working on that, trying to perfect that. Okay, so listen, we saw that you did Stewie from Family Guy.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Stewie.
So there's never I've seen every Family Guy episode. Can we hear Stewie from Family Guy?
Ah, you want to hear a little bit of Stewie, don't you? Everybody loves Stewie. I don't know what it is about me. I just have so much charisma. I ooze charisma from every pore. And you know what's amazing? I ooze so much charisma, and I'm only 1 year old. It's amazing. I mean, think about when I'm like 35. I have a little knowledge and wisdom under my belt, how charismatic I will be. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to rule the world. Yes, quite easily. What I boasted in the earlier seasons of Family Guy was not false. I will rule the world.
Great impression, great. Yes, sir. Okay, now my favorite character in the whole MCU and the Marvel and everything goes by the name of Magneto. And I saw, I was like, yo, you did Magneto like that? You know how hard it is?
Dude, yeah, I love Ian McKellen. I think he's one of the greatest actors ever. Yeah, he's just brilliant. And like he came to my attention even before that movie. But that was like the really first like big budget thing he did.
Yeah.
And so I was so excited going to theater because it's first of all, I'm a total nerd, obviously. I think we're all nerds, who are probably on this. So I was nerding out because it was X-Men, and I was also nerding out because it was Ian McKellen as Magneto, one of the greatest villains of all time and everything.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So, did you want me to do that one too? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does it ever wake you in the middle of the night that someday they'll pass that foolish law? They won't dislike it. Come for you and your children. What do you do when you wake up to that? Why do you come here, Charles? Oh, yes, your continuing search for hope.
You know, this plastic prison won't hold me forever. The war is still coming, Charles, and I intend to fight it by any means necessary. It slips into Gandalf a little bit, I'll admit, because like I love Gandalf. He's probably my favorite fictional character.
Okay.
But yeah, Magneto. Oh, you picked a really good one. I love Magneto. Yeah,
Listen, me too. Now, okay, now we're gonna stay right there with Gandalf. Okay. I had questions. Auntie saying great Stewie. People think everybody who's showing love. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. His name is Eric Stayberg. Let's make sure we all support him. Continue to show him love and follow him on all his platforms. Okay, so with Gandalf, I tried. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like everybody's nerds and I love Star Wars. But help me, could you help us who may not be? Every time I say the greatest trilogies of all time, people bring up Lord of the Rings. They're going to bring it up some way. How would you explain it to somebody who's never seen Lord of the Rings? Like, what makes everybody love Gandalf? What makes do you have to read the book first? Like what is it about it?
No, I wouldn't say you have to read the book first, even though that could help. Because I mean, the book is insanely complex, the trilogy. Okay. There's so much omitted from the book that's not in the movies and everything like that. Some for good reason, some for like, it's unfortunate it couldn't be there, but it makes sense plot wise. But no, I think the reason why it works so well is because Tolkien's world building is second to none. Like you feel like you're in a fully formed universe in his world. And also you're dealing with like very concrete, for the most part, concrete characters. Like, okay, Sauron is evil. There's no debate on if he's good or not, like, or if he has some good qualities or if he's misunderstood. It's like, no, he's evil. You have Gandalf, who is the righteous wizard, the only righteous wizard left. I mean, there's the two blue wizards and there's the brown wizard who they don't go the path which they're supposed to go, which is to basically end Sauron. So I'm going into a long explanation because I love the whole Lord of the Rings lore and Tolkien's lore and everything like that. And then you have Saruman, who is the most powerful at first. And then, but you have Gandalf, he's the anti-Saruman and everything like that. And so it's like, he's the one who is like, okay, we have a heavy hitter on our side and everything, yet he is forbidden to get too involved, which is nice because it's like, if he were to get too involved, it's like, okay, well, we're going to win. We have to struggle and everything. And so then you have on top of that, you have the hobbits, who are the most innocent creatures in Middle Earth, yet they have some of the most strength in them, because it's like, even though they have very little, battle experience, they're not aggressive or mean or hateful or like any of that. They go against such crazy odds, and that you root for them right away. I mean, you're just like, well, how can I not be on Frodo and Sam's side? I mean, they're great friends, they're great people. There's nothing bad about them. They seem like how I would be in there. Because I mean, look, I couldn't match up to Aragorn or Boromir or or like, I mean, obviously never Gandalf because he's magical and stuff. Like, so it's like, okay, the one I would probably match up the most with is probably the hobbits. And everything. As much as I'd like to be Gandalf, I wouldn't, me transplanted into Middle Earth. And so I think when you have like the ultimate good versus the ultimate evil and everything's well defined, it makes it an easier viewing experience. But then on top of that, you have the very complex world that's created. So it fulfills all the needs. Like if it were just a simple world, it probably wouldn't be as interesting. If that makes any sense, where it's just like, oh, there's not as many intricacies and nuances to characters and the beings and the worlds and all this kind of stuff. And then you just had good versus evil. It probably wouldn't be as interesting. Like how Star Wars is very much in the same breath. It's very simple yet complex.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's kind of I think, I don't know for sure, but maybe Lucas kind of modeled it a little bit after that.
Okay.
Maybe he did. I don't know. I mean, he's still brilliant, either way. But Lord of the Rings I see as that, and that's how I'd probably explain it to somebody. I'd probably be a little bit more condensed, because I tend to ramble, but like I just
No,
did.
that was a good great explanation. So thank you very much. All right,
Yeah.
thank you everybody who's watching and showing love. Okay, we want to ask. Okay, so I've done the play, the musical with my mother, my sister, Aladdin. I saw what you did, Iago. Could you give us that? That was great, by the way.
I love this character. Oh man. Let me think of something really quick. I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise. What are we gonna do? We got a big problem here. A big. Oh yeah, I
That was great.
love that character. He's one of my favorites. Oh man.
Yeah, and okay, so I I had such an issue trying to cast that character,
Mhm.
and the person who cast it, she didn't want to play. We couldn't find a man to play it. Got a girl. She didn't appreciate, Gilbert Gottfried's like. And I was like, man, this is a major kid.
Yeah.
He's comedy, he's comic relief, but he's smart, he's witty, he
Yeah.
knows how to play Jafar. She
Yeah.
didn't understand it, but we still had a great time either way. But yeah, that was a great Iago. Okay, also, saw that you did Shrek.
Oh, Shrek. And you know what? It's funny is like I kind of got a little bit of hate for that because like I'll admit my Shrek's not fully on point. It's pretty like I don't know if you know the guy behind it, Mike Myers, and
Of
everything like
course,
that.
of
Well, he
course.
did like you've seen Austin Powers, of course, right? And
Yes,
everything
sir.
like that. And the character Fat Bastard. Well, I think mine's maybe a little bit too much Fat Bastard and not enough Shrek. Because is it like as Shrek, it's a little softer, it's not quite as wild. And so I was like, if I can do Fat Bastard, I can do Shrek and everything like that. And so I'm like, oh no, it's a big, fat, stinky, smelly, scary ogre. We better run for our lives. Like,
That was good. That
I
was
mean, but I'm getting better. I'm very excited for Shrek 5 to come out. I'm very excited about
as
that.
am I,
That'll
as
be
am I.
awesome.
Yes, I, Donkey, all like who doesn't like Shrek? You know what I'm saying? You can't
Yeah.
go wrong with Shrek. And I used to go to Universal Studios. Well, I still go very often, but when they took Shrek 4D out of Universal, I was like, "Huh, what y'all doing, man? You know what I'm saying? You take Shrek 4D out of Universal, but whatever. I digress. Okay. Also, I saw that you did one of the most controversial yet notorious characters of all time, Herbert from Family Guy.
Oh my God. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I don't that's the thing is like I don't understand. Like I posted that one thinking like I'm like nobody's gonna watch, nobody's gonna care about this character. Nobody's like, I mean, it's such a ancillary character on Family Guy, and I'm not diminishing it. I'm just saying it's like, I mean, he's not really like ever involved in plot, like in the stories. He's like
Absolutely.
just there to make a crude joke, basically. And we all know what those jokes are referencing. I don't think we need to say what they're referencing and everything like that. I mean, obviously he's called Herbert the pervert for a reason and everything like that. So it's like, yeah, it speaks for itself. But like then when I posted it, it's like people freaking loved it. And I was like really? Like I didn't know there was so much love for this character. And um yeah, it was funny. And like I've been actually working on that. And then the hardest thing to do with that is the whistle.
Okay,
That's
okay.
the hardest thing by far because I can fall out of the whistle really quickly. And so when you do it, you try to talk real slow like this, and you take your time, and maybe you're kind of bouncing your head a little bit, and just make sure you take a breath every time, and you kind of go up, and you kind of go down. Yes, that's a nice muscly throwing arm you got there. Guess who? Like I mean, it's just like he's like kind of like I mean, I guess maybe he's popular because in a sick, twisted world, like maybe for teenagers, he's kind of like the adult version of like a Sesame Street character. Like because his
Okay,
voice
okay.
is so ridiculous, it's so high pitched, it's so goofy, but it's like obviously his what his character stands for and what he does is very adult, and everything like it. So it's obviously adult humor. It's not like Sesame Street humor
Yes, sir.
and everything. So
Well, that was very impressive. Just like because I come from theater,
Mhm.
When anytime I watch Family Guy, and they do all I really want for Christmas is, and then they're singing, they're doing all these things, and then here comes Herbert in the middle. He sings too. I'm like, yo, I don't think people. You talking about nuances? People watch if you watch Family Guy, you
Oh.
prepare. They got live orchestra.
Oh
This
yeah.
is Family Guy is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Family
Okay,
Guy. Sorry.
no, I'm listening. I'm listening.
I was gonna say, you were absolutely right because Family Guy is criminally underrated. Like, look, I get some of people's criticism of it, absolutely, but it's you have one guy. I mean, you have many people on there that are uber talented, but you have Seth MacFarlane, him specifically, who created the show. He comes, he didn't write all the episodes, and he helps write. He's in the writer's room, doing all that kind of stuff. Then he does like a dozen of the voices, and they're all
Exactly.
wildly different. I mean, he could
Exactly.
be arguably the greatest voiceover artist of all time, at least
I
for cartoons, like funny cartoons and everything like
agree.
that. And then you have Alex Borstein, who just crushes it. I mean, she was amazing on Mad TV. You have Seth Green, who I love his other show. Why am I forgetting it? Right, Robot Chicken.
Okay,
Amazing,
yeah, Robot
everything
Chicken.
like that. And Mike Henry, who does the voice of Herbert. You're right. They all can sing, and you
Yeah, I'm
bet
just
they
saying.
probably
Yeah.
all can dance too. Like
Exactly.
you're
Exactly.
probably, they probably can. And then you have what's his name is Joe Swanson, Putty from Seinfeld. Oh, why am I forgetting his
Oh
name?
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
his name. Why am I forgetting his name? It's Patrick Warburton. I mean, who's just God. Like, honestly, Joe might even be my favorite character.
Yeah,
Like,
his
I
comedic timing.
love the Joe
He's very
character.
funny. He's very
He's
funny.
so funny. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so much talent that goes into these things, and
Oh,
they
we can't forget Meg now. We can't
Oh,
forget
no, no,
Meg.
no, no, exactly. See, that's the thing. Is like there are so many good actors and characters on this show that are highlighting, I mean, not only great performances, but great singing and great parody. Which, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
parody's not as easy as people think.
I,
They think, oh, I'm just making fun of this. Where it's like, well, yeah, that's easier said than done. Like, like to parody something well, because if you parody it not well, you are going to get, you're going to get crucified for it. You really will. Like, they will,
absolutely.
people will annihilate you for it, especially if you're like trying to parody Star Wars like they did. If you did
I
a
mean,
bad job, oh,
exactly.
sorry, what'd you say?
Now I was like, and they did an excellent job
Yeah.
to the point that every time I watch those episodes, I want to go back and I rewatch Star Wars from a different angle. I'm like, look how they did this.
Mhm.
And they have, you can tell that he's a fan of Star Wars. He's not just
Oh yeah.
randomly. It's like, yeah, like, no, look how they really, they really do a great job. Hope, but we want to stay right there.
Okay.
A very slept on character that a lot of people is ultimately underrated is someone else, Consuela. And I saw you do her.
Oh, Consuela, what a great character. And it's done by the same guy who does Herbert too. It's
Oh, see,
so
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, Mike Henry. Um, yeah.
No, no, I take this lamp. We need more lemon pledge. No, no.
That's good. That's very good, man. That's very good. Yeah, and you can't go wrong with that. And anytime my sisters get on my nerves, I will send them Family Guy gifts. Like anytime
Oh,
they say something, I'm like, no, you're gonna get a Family Guy gift. And
that's awesome.
because there's something, there's not a. My favorite one is Peter on the phone when he's saying like, hold on, like, y'all don't have to hold it. And he's pressing the thing. He's like, hold on, he's pressing the buttons and stuff.
Oh my
Like,
God, yeah,
like
that was really
gives you got so much, so much material from Family Guy.
yeah.
Okay, but on a serious note, as an act, hold on, people are showing you love in the comments. Thank you, brother Ian, brother Corey, Angelica. Thank you, everybody who's watching and showing love from all around the world. I appreciate that. Peace to everybody who's watching. What I wanted to ask you is, I just put this movie on for my father 2 days ago. Can't make this up. As an actor, if somebody said do a monologue and it's like a drama, I would have to go to Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite directors.
Mm.
I would go to Gangs of New York.
Ooh.
Because Daniel Day-Lewis, like, what are we? That character, he's basically he is a villain or an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But when the way he plays it, it's like you don't want to be the butcher. Like this man, he embodies like, nah, hold up.
Yeah.
So if we could hear that, sir.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Day-Lewis, and it's like I mean, there's actors and then there's Day-Lewis.
Absolutely.
Like, I had a friend, he's still a friend of mine, but he would always say, he's like, I mean, because his favorite actor was Denzel Washington, but he would always say that he's like, man, like Denzel Washington is good, but Daniel Day-Lewis could play Denzel, like, and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, probably. Like, if he, like, if like, he worked with him, because Daniel Day-Lewis would hang out with him for like a year or two, so
absolutely.
every single thing, and then he'd stay in character for almost a year or two on top of that. But yeah, Day-Lewis is, I mean, there's nobody that I've ever seen that embodies a role like you said, like him. Like, there's nobody that does it as good as him. I mean, all he has to do is a movie every 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden, like, all this praise comes up, everybody starts talking about him. Then he goes off to Ireland, or he goes off to he hides, for a while and everything like that, because he doesn't, he's not a big on the spotlight. And then he comes out again eventually when he's like, feels like, I want to give this acting thing a try again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, like his speech at the very beginning between him and Liam Neeson is amazing.
Yes, sir.
He's like, is this it, priest? The Pope's no army, a few crusty bitches and a handful of ragtags. No, Bell, this is a battle between warriors. So warriors is what I brought. Bene. On my challenge, by the ancient laws of combat, we have met at this chosen ground to settle for good and all. Like, I don't want to, I'm probably scaring the shit out of my roommates right now, but I got like 4 or 5 of them in here right now, but it should be okay. But they hear crazy stuff from me all the time, obviously, because I'm a goofball. So, but
that is like chills for me wanting to say that, for me wanting to, before it's a fight or it's a competition or anything, and you could just channel that energy, how he commands them into fighting, no fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the definition of fearless. And yeah, I put that on for my father the other day. He was like, what's that? I was like, that watch Games New York. This is our kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna like this. Nice. And of course, he was very impressed. All right. Also, I wanted to ask you, which is crazy now, especially for the younger generation, he's known for Harry Potter, for being the bad guy in Harry Potter. But I always see him because my grandmother was obsessed with Die Hard. So I always see him as the main bad guy in Die Hard. You know what I'm saying? My grandma used to watch Die Hard all the time. So I saw you do an impression of him, if you could. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think people like that one. Honestly, they gave me a lot of hate for that in the comments. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of likes, but then there's a lot of hate. I think it's because he's such a beloved actor and character, and then it's like, unfortunately, like, he passed, so soon in life, and it's like, okay, if you don't fully do it justice, well, you're gonna get reamed for it and everything. And yeah, my first experience with him was with Die Hard. I mean, I loved him in Die Hard. I mean, he's just like,
is it like this? Oh, yes. What was that you used to call me? Yippee-ki-yay. Or what was that you said to me before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah. He's so, I don't even know what it is. Like, he's this charismatic, evil, twisted guy, like, with just all these nice subtleties in his performance. Like, he's just brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. Like, he could have been in, like, the way he played it, he could have been either a European art dealer or a terrorist. I mean, exactly. It's kind of like a mix between the two. Like, he's like, would you look at this painting over here? I love the brush strokes right there. Yeah, that Van Gogh did. Yes.
Absolutely. Hence why he could act as if he wasn't who he really was, in Die Hard, where it's like, wait, hold up, how did he fool him? Because he quickly could switch. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Yeah, like, he's a very complicated villain. One of the greatest, by the way.
Absolutely.
Okay, we got one more for you, and thank you to everybody who was showing love from all around the world. Al Pacino in Heat.
Oh man, it might be
another one of my favorite movies of all time, by the way.
Oh, me too, dude. We're like right in line in terms of like the movies we like and everything. I love this. It's harder to find people like that, from our generation, that it's like, like, oh, we saw all the same movies and all this kind of stuff. Cause like most people, it's like, if it's not from the last 10 years, they don't know about it.
Yeah. Like, even when Val Kilmer just passed,
Yeah.
the clips that people were showing, I was like, hold up. I mean, I shout out to Top Gun and everything else, but let's not act like this is not is I my favorite role that he ever did. Shout out to Heat because he was great in Heat.
Yeah.
But also Tombstone. Like, what y'all saying? Like,
So funny you say that. I literally just watched that a couple hours ago.
Okay, now, is that something that you ever tried, like to do him and Tombstone?
Um, I haven't tried. I mean, I would do it like as a joke kind of thing like that, but I hadn't really tried it. I was kind of actually as I was watching, and I was like, I was kind of trying to get some cadences down. Like, he's got that really like that Georgian accent because I believe Doc Holliday was from Georgia, and he's got that southern drawl to him, and like. That's a character I really don't want to try until I can get it right because it's like, that's a character. If you mess up with that, oh man, like it's you don't really come back from that. Like, I mean, and I respect that character so much. And that's, my favorite Val Kilmer performance ever.
It got to be Doc Holliday, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But Al Pacino in Heat, oh man, I mean, he was just off the rails in that. He was so good. Like, I mean, he just comes in and is like, Are we having dinner? Wait, no, Dave, you can ball my wife if she wants you to. You can lounge on her ex-husband's on her sofa in her ex-husband's dead tech postmodernistic bullshit house, but you do not. I repeat, you do not get to watch my fucking television. Like, it's just like he just lights up so quick. Like he's like a powder keg. Of emotion, like he can go from like so subtle to like so extreme that quickly. And actually, what was interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, go on, I'm listening.
I was just going to say, like, and what was interesting, and the reason why he did that in that movie specifically, is they cut it out, but he was originally supposed to be like a coke addict.
Okay.
Like that, and so obviously. Coke's a major stimulant, amps up your energy, all this kind of stuff. And so like, that's why he had these wild, like, things out like, give me all you got. Give me all you got. It just out of nowhere. And it was like scaring the cast, but he pretty much was given like carte blanche to do what he wants, to be as Pacino as possible.
Ooh, ah.
Ooh, ah. Yeah, no,
Listen, but the only thing, so he's one of my two favorite actors of all time, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, both in that movie. But I'm like, sorry, Al Pacino, on this one, you're on the wrong side because I got to ride Robert. I'm rooting for Robert De Niro. I'm just letting you know.
Dude, I was the same way. The first time I watched it, my dad showed it to me and my brother. And I think we were like, because I have a twin brother, we were like, I don't know, 10 or 11 or something like that. I mean, we were young. Probably shouldn't have been watching it at that age, but it was just different back then. But man, I was so rooting for De Niro that dude, I don't know if I want to do a spoiler if anybody hasn't seen it.
If they haven't seen it, they just haven't seen it.
Okay, all right. The spoilers okay?
Yeah, the movie's been out for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like when he got shot at the end. Oh my God, it broke my heart. I mean, I was just like, no, this can't be the end. This has to be a dream sequence. This has to be like, no, why would De Niro not get away? And everything like that. Like, yeah, like, okay, some of these guys were bad, and obviously they shouldn't be stealing millions of dollars, but it's like you get so involved in their lives that you care about them tremendously.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that Heat did better than I think probably any other like heist movie.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Heat.
At least in my opinion.
Okay, I got something for you.
All
so right. Heat is my number 2. My number 1, I'm sure you can do it if you got time. But Bostonian and all of that accent with The Town. Have you ever seen The Town?
I have seen The Town. It was a while ago though. I've only seen
The Town. That I don't know about Boston or anything. I just know about sports, like through sport. When I saw The Town, I was like, hold up now.
Yeah.
I was studying Ben Affleck's like the jawline, the way he posed, like the way he talks like this through his teeth, like barely, moving. I was like, bro, like, how could you do romantic comedies and everything else when you had this in your acting, repertoire. Like I love the town. I'm a big fan of the town.
Oh, it's a brilliant movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of the most underrated movies of the last what was it, about 10, 15 years ago
yeah,
it
about
came
10,
out?
15 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you had Jeremy Renner. I mean, Ben Affleck is really good, and he gets way more shit than he deserves. Like people give him so much shit. But he's talented. I mean, not only is he a
yeah.
talented director, but he is a good actor. It's like,
He's Batman.
yeah. Oh, dude, I loved him as Batman. Honestly, I loved him as Batman. Good Lord, did he get jacked for that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's Batman, you know what I'm saying?
Holy shit, he was jacked. But Jeremy Renner in that movie. Oh my!
He stole the show. He stole the show.
He did. I totally agree with you. I mean, there was a reason why he got nominated,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
year and everything like that. And I mean, it had such good actors, and they even had right before he passed, or the movie might have come out even after he passed. But Pete Postlethwaite, who was the guy in the flower shop, he was a really skinny guy that was
Oh yeah,
Ben
yeah, yeah,
Affleck that
yeah.
he was gonna like kill his girlfriend and kill him if he wasn't gonna do the job.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy, he's an Irish actor. He was in a lot of movies with Daniel Day-Lewis and everything
Okay,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, he was in Last of the Mohicans with him. He was also in The Name of the Father, and like amazing Irish actor.
And The Name of the Father was very good, by the way. Yeah.
Dude, that movie, holy crap. And he's playing in that like a very sweet, older like father, even though he's in real life, he's only 7 years older than Daniel Day-Lewis. But he's playing a father who, and everything like that, like a very sweet man. But then in the town, he's playing a vicious bastard. Like, I mean, he's making threats on his mom, like Ben Affleck's mom and his girlfriend, and like, I mean, all this messed up shit. I was like, geez. Good Lord, as he's like cutting roses.
Exactly. Now I know him from before I knew him in the town. I knew him from the Kaiser Soze with
Ooh. Yeah.
Usual Suspects. Usual Suspects. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, so
yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody who's watching the show love. I have a question for you. Do people who want to get into voice acting or just want to practice it, get on social media, just do it for fun? What advice would you give us?
I mean, I don't want to be like giving like cheap advice, but it actually is like this is some of the best advice. But it might sound like a jip. But honestly, just practice every day and don't worry about comparing yourself to the actual voice, because look, you're never going to be great right off the bat. You're not.
Okay.
Like, look, my voices sounded nothing like the characters I did, when I first started. Nothing. And even now, I still hear times where I'm like, no, I'm way off and everything. You're going to have mistakes. But then there's going to be certain things that you might be able to do better than another voice actor or another, and you don't want to compare yourself to other people. But there might be some things that draw people to you, for what you do, other than, oh, wow, the voice was on point. Like what I try to do is like when I do my scenes, I try to do like add more of a performance to it, not just like, oh, hey, I'm doing the voice, but it's like, oh, hey, like if I do Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs in New York, I'm like, I'm really going to emote. I'm really going to get into like his character, do it like how it was in the movie. Now, my voice is not exactly like his. Like his is in that it's deeper, it's a little bit more gruff and raspier, and like I can't reach that resonance as good. But like when you put in like the squinting and all this kind of thing, and you get down the mannerisms real well. Like, I mean, then it's like, and then you do the lines correct. Like, what in heaven's name are you talking about? Like, I mean, you get all that. It's like nobody gives a shit about that at that point if you make a mistake with the voice. And literally it's just repetition practice. Like if you just take, I mean, gosh, even if you only take like 20 minutes out of every day, or maybe just 5 days a week, make it like a job. And no matter how good or bad you do every day, because there's going to be days where you do really well at a voice, and then there's going to be the next day where you're just like terrible and you're off. And that's just the way it is. It's like in baseball. Nobody bats 1,000. Even if you're a good hitter, you're most likely only going to bat 300.
Okay.
Like that, and that's 3 out of 10. So that's not like, that's not amazing, but that's amazing for the sport. And so you practice every day. Don't compare yourself to others at all. Don't even, I mean, look at them for inspiration. Definitely do that. Like, I mean, if you want to do like a Stewie Griffin voice, watch some other people who do Stewie Griffin really well, but then watch Seth MacFarlane live because he does it live a lot. Like he
Yeah,
on
yeah.
like Conan, he does it on like, I mean, all those like, talk shows. Watch him do it and like see how he does it. And he gets all animated, like in the way he does it.
Yeah.
So you're like following his like a lot of his movements and everything like that, and his cadences that he does at him, like he talks like Peter out of the side of his mouth and everything like that. He doesn't really make like a lot of facial expressions. It's like kind of more hand thing and everything. He kind of like tilts his head a little bit, like he's like, if you kind of mimic that, that will really help with your performance. Well, at least the performance of the voice. But if you're an actor, you're already a step ahead because you can actually put acting talent behind it as opposed to just the voice. There are some people that can do the voice really well, but then they're not, you can tell they're not really an actor. Like, I mean, they couldn't act a scene with that voice. Like they can say lines, but they can't act a scene. But when you can act behind it, it's like, okay, wow, now that's the character, and
Okay.
everything. I love
Okay,
that.
I want to stay right there. What we have a character. Thank you, everybody who's watching. People showing love and staying with us on the People's Podcast tonight. We're having a great time with Eric Stayberg. I wanted to ask you about your Jack Nicholson, but mainly for the Joker. We're gonna stay with the Batman. We're gonna stay with the Batman and the Joker because I saw you do an impression of his of The Shining. But I wanted to say with the Joker. Could you do Jack Nicholson with the Joker?
Your pals, they're not bad people. Maybe we should give them a couple days to think it over. No? Grease them now? Okay. You are a vicious bastard, Vertelli. I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead. Yeah, with that Joker, it's all about the laugh.
That's phenomenal. Okay, thank you, everybody. It's about people, hand clapping and all of that. I would do what you just said earlier. You said 20 minutes a day, 5 weeks of treat. Like I would go home. My sisters would get mad at me once again because they would be like, "Why is Joshua replaying romantic movies or these romantic scenes to talk to girls in school the next day?" So I would just study these lines. I would study all these movies. I'm studying, and then I would go lean on the locker, whatever I'm doing. I'm talking to each girl, and I'm just in the character. They have no idea.
Oh, that's
they have no idea. But I was practicing. I would practice these lines and over. So some girls would get smooth Joshua. Some girls would get more serious. Some girls would get the more outlandish comedic Joshua. But I would study like I was studying for an audition, and I would just over and over until I got the voice writer, put the music at this level, and see how I would learn it like that. So it's one of my methods that I would have to do to talk to women. So it is what it is.
Nice. Oh,
Yes,
that's
sir.
awesome.
Okay, yeah. Now we have one more for you to do, sir, if possible. If you could let us know who's your favorite voice to do, if you could give us your favorite voice.
Ooh, who's my favorite to do? It would probably be Gandalf. Yeah, I don't think there's a day that's gone by, probably since that movies came out, the Fellowship of the Ring, that I haven't done his voice at least once a day.
Okay, let's get hear it.
Yeah, I love Gandalf. Like,
Precious, it's been called that before, but not by you. I think you've had that ring long enough, Bilbo. Bilbo Baggins! Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks! I'm not trying to rob you! I'm trying to help you.
Scene, my goodness, that was powerful. Yes, sir. Okay, now all I hear is Magneto, but okay.
No, I know, and it's like, and that's the thing is like, I don't know if he did too much of an American accent for Magneto. I think maybe he kept it because, like, obviously Magneto, the character, was in Europe for a good deal of time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And everything like that, and so like, Yeah, I mean it's very similar, but he does.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was so good, but I don't know that movie. So when I'm hearing just the actor. I'm like, oh man, you sound just like her.
Oh wait, so you haven't seen Lord of the Rings yet?
No, no, I
Oh,
never did.
okay.
People like my best friend from Chicago. Her name's Aisha, and she comes on the show. We do a segment called Top Five. We argue around once a month, top five trilogies, top five sagas, and my top five. Most people say The Godfather. I'm The Dark Knight, but for me, it's Planet of the Apes, The
Ooh,
Rise of Planet of the Apes. Like that's one of my favorite trilogies of
that's a
all time.
great trilogy.
And she was like, no, it's not even close. It's Lord of the Rings. And I was like, how did you? She was like, you gotta give it a chance. And I was like, I just never got into it. I never gave it like the way she didn't describe it in a way that made me want to go see it.
Mhm. And that's hard to do, like to describe it because it's like there's so much. It's like where do you start with Lord of the Rings? Like, in fact, I would just be less is more. Like I would just say, like, look, hey, look, you can call me up and cuss me out, like if you don't like the movies, just try them and don't watch the
In which
extended.
order?
What's up?
Which order?
Oh no, the chronologically. I mean,
Okay,
Fellowship,
so wait,
then Two Towers, then Return of the. I mean, you have to watch them in order because of how it tells a full story that way and
okay.
everything like that. And do not watch the extended versions first. Maybe later on you can do that, but they're just too long. I for a first time watcher, I wouldn't suggest that. Even though the extended versions are amazing, I love them, but not for a first time watcher who doesn't like know the Tolkien world and everything like that. But yeah, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to say like pump it up or too much or anything like that. I would just say dedicate just at least 3 hours just to watch the first one and see what you think.
Okay. And this is with Liv Tyler on a horse, and she's like coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
okay, okay.
Yep.
I mean, I'm familiar with it enough, but I just never. I'm like, y'all telling me this is good as Star Wars? That's that. But even okay, so April 25th. I don't know about you're on the West Coast, but in Atlanta, they are having episode 3 of Star Wars back in the movie theaters.
No way.
Yeah, so it's the
Oh,
20th. Yeah, so I get to see that for the first time in the movie theater. And I'm like, this is so one episode 1, 2, and 3. Everybody hates the prequels, but I like 1, 2, and 3, you know what I'm saying?
I
So
like
I
them. Yeah, I'm right
so
there. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I'm just saying, so it's like, but that's the order I would watch Star Wars in episode 1, 2, and 3. Now I know who Darth Vader. Now I can
Yeah,
appreciate, so it's like when you saying just watch in chronological order, all right, we'll just watch in
yeah,
chronological order.
yeah. And you don't have to watch the Hobbit series first because there's a Hobbit trilogy too that has 3
Okay.
movies. Those ones are okay. Not my favorite, but like there's some really good things about them. But Lord of the Rings is a totally separate entity. Than the Hobbit. Like I mean, they do kind of intermesh a little bit, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary to watch The Hobbit first before Lord of the
Okay.
Rings. I would just jump straight into Lord of the Rings. And shoot, what was the oh yeah, the prequels. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the prequels for Star Wars. I've gained more and more appreciation for those things over the years, especially because I didn't really care for like the newest trilogy that much.
Oh yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Yeah, and I was just like, I watched them all in theaters, of course, because I'm one of those fans and everything like that. But I was not into them. They're really inconsistent, and I don't know. I thought at times just bad storytelling and all this kind of stuff. But then I went back and watched the prequels, and I'm like, you know what? I judge these things way too harshly.
I think a lot of people did
Yeah,
because so any woman who talks to me and they want to like be serious, they're like, well, what do you think about naming your children? I'm like, well, it's going to be a lot of unique names, but one of them is Anakin. So I'm just like,
dude, that is awesome. That is
and they're like,
awesome.
no, I'm not naming my no son Anakin Muhammad. Like, like I'm not doing it. I'm like, I'm just telling you,
Dude,
Anakin is one of my favorite characters of all time.
that's awesome.
And what about the Disney Plus shows? Do you like old
I've seen a couple of them. So I've seen what have I seen? Well, because I loved Boba Fett, I watched The Mandalorian. I love that
Okay.
character, Boba Fett, and he's like,
Okay.
it's amazing how much of an impact he made off of like I don't know, 10, 15 minutes off of screen time in all the
Exactly.
movies. I mean, it probably wasn't even that long. But like, I love The Mandalorian. I saw Obi-Wan. Wasn't like, I love his scenes when he was with Anakin or he was with Darth Vader.
Me
Like
too, me
those
too.
scenes I really love. But other than that, I wasn't really into that. Um, I didn't see Andor. Everybody tells me Andor is unbelievable.
I didn't see it. I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
I haven't seen it. I mean, honestly, I a lot of times I just don't have time to like sit down and watch like something for like 9 hours. And like even on the weeks, like I mean, I'm going to school. I got two jobs and an internship, like, and I'm going to school full time. So I'm just like when I sit down, I'm like, I need it to be something that I know I'm gonna like because I don't have much free time, and I need it to be like a small escape for me. Then
Absolutely.
I can go right to bed, and then I can get up in the morning and do it all over again and everything. And so, like, maybe eventually I'll be able to give these things time, but I really haven't been able to, unfortunately. So yeah, I saw Obi-Wan Kenobi and I saw The Mandalorian. Mandalorian I really liked. I thought that was really good.
Okay.
I thought the first and second season, maybe they probably should have just ended with the second season. I don't know. Did you ever see Mandalorian?
I didn't get a chance to see it. I know that Luke came back. I saw somebody like people saying
Yes.
Luke came
Yeah,
back.
he
So
did. Another sport.
that made me want to get interested in it.
Oh yeah, another spoiler. And yeah, and it's an amazing return.
Okay.
Oh,
I know they don't like when you say Baby Yoda, but the Baby Yoda kind of characters are there, all that. So
he looks like Yoda and he's a baby. I mean, so it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, you can call him Grogu, but like most people are not like, they don't care about that name. Like, it's just
yeah,
like, come on, Yoda is like an institution. Like,
yeah,
even people who haven't seen Star Wars or know anything about it, they know Yoda. I
yeah,
mean, it's like a
exactly.
very popular, popularized character and everything like that. But yeah, I think that one you'd really like because that one's a little bit more like old school Star Wars.
Okay, I'm writing it down. I'm writing it
Yeah,
down. I'm writing it down. All
yeah.
right.
I mean, you have,
I got Lord of the Rings written down. Got to
oh
write
yeah,
this.
I would suggest Lord of the Rings first because to get the full story of the Mandalorian, you'd have to watch seasons 1 and 2. I mean, you could watch 3, but the first storyline is concluded basically at the end of season 2 with Mandalorian, and so after that, it's like, okay, well, kind of got my fill and everything like that. I mean, I watched season 3 because I wanted to see it, but now they're coming out with a movie, and I think that's how they're going to end out everything. And
Okay.
Pedro Pascal's character, which I think he's amazing in that. He's
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing him in Fantastic Four.
yeah, dude, that'll be really interesting. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see what he does. I think he's pretty perfect for Reed Richards and
Yeah,
everything.
I look now. I must admit that the first Fantastic Four, I'm such a fan of Jessica Alba and that group. Everybody just downplays them, but I was like, that's when I think of Fantastic Four. That's what I think of. So I'm giving the new
Yeah.
people a chance,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
it's nothing because they're gonna be more serious. But the
Mm-hmm.
lighthearted, just silly Fantastic Four, I was like, yeah, I kind of like Fantastic Four.
They were fun. I mean, like who cares? If they're not playing it more serious. I mean, like, look, in the end, okay, sometimes you can't make a serious movie out of a guy who stretches, a girl who turns invisible, a guy who's a rock, and a guy who turns into a flame. Like,
Exactly,
okay, how serious can you make it without people going like, really? Am I supposed to?
exactly.
I mean, it's like make it fun. And I think that's more Marvel's like direction is to like make things more fun. Even in the comic books, is more about like
Exactly.
getting people to show some absurdities in this because it's like, and I feel like DC sometimes, even though I like DC, don't get me wrong, I love the characters. In fact, Superman and Batman are some of my favorite characters of all time.
Sure.
But sometimes it seems like they take their characters a little too seriously and they're wearing underwear on the outside of their pants and everything like that. And you have Batman beating Superman in some scenario. And it's like, come on, dude. Like,
Don't get me started. Don't get me started that, as a Superman fan, I went to the movies and like, Ben Affleck getting great. I'm like, bro, nobody
yeah.
beating Superman.
Yeah.
Like, beating
I
him.
mean,
You're not hand to hand with the Man of Steel. Like, don't play with me like that. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And if his weakness is kryptonite, he would have been killed a long time ago. I mean,
Exactly.
come on. You're telling me the smartest man in the world, Lex Luthor, or the smartest man in the world, like the other smartest man in the world, Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
can't kill this guy?
Exactly.
And they have the weapon to do it? Like, come on. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Great point.
But it's like that's comics. It doesn't have to make they're superheroes. Like you're going beyond what is expected. You're going beyond logic. You're going beyond what makes sense. That's why we love these characters and everything like that. I mean, my favorite superhero is a guy who has long blonde surfer hair, is a god, but drinks beer and swings around a hammer and everything,
Okay,
like
so
a
you like
magical
Thor.
hammer.
So you like
Like I
Thor.
love
Okay.
Thor. Like
Okay.
I've read his comic books for years, but it's like, okay, if I can't see part of the absurdity in that, like, good Lord, I'm taking it way too serious. Like, of course it's ridiculous in some aspects, but who cares? Who gives a shit? I mean, it's like, dude, we love it. I mean,
I agree, and that's why I used to tell people, don't worry about my fast. I like the Incredible Hulk. You know, he's probably Superman and the Incredible Hulk right there for me. But
mhm,
Magneto #1. But then
yeah,
he's on the villain side. But the whole and I'm like I can't even verbalize what I'm trying. Like I can't make it make sense to someone. Like he's a genius who gets mad. You know what I'm saying? Then he
yeah,
turns to the other guy. Then he forgets sometimes
yeah,
because he's so mad. You know what I'm saying? Even what he did, and then
yeah.
Black Widow can calm him down when she talks to him. It's a lot, it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter because it's the
No,
Avengers.
it's a brilliant dichotomy. I mean, you look at like the Incredible Hulk character, like, okay, yeah, he's like one of the most brilliant people on Earth,
Absolutely.
and everything like that. At least in, I think it's like nuclear physics that he is. I can't remember what it is in the comic books, but like he's the most one of the most brilliant men on Earth, yet like one of the softest. Like, and I don't
Yeah.
mean that as a bad thing, but it's like he's not an aggressive, like he's not an antagonistic kind of person. He's not a fighter necessarily. But all that repression has led to a lot of bitterness, anger, and resentment that has created this monster inside him. And then when he gets blasted with gamma rays, it awakens this beast inside him, which
Yes,
is
sir.
the strongest thing there is, and everything like that. Even though this will piss people off, but I don't care. I still think Thor could beat him, and I've seen him beat him in the comics, but they've kind of gone back and forth. But it's like you got a guy that can fly, hurl lightning, has a magic hammer, is just about as strong as the Hulk,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then he can do all these other things and fly between galaxies within seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he can't beat a guy who punches hard.
I
Man. But no, anyways, I'm not going to start a fight. No. I love
mean, no, that
I
makes
love
good.
those.
And Thor is it's unfair because Thor is a god.
Yeah,
You know, what I'm
exactly.
saying. That
It's
makes that.
exactly why Stanley created him. He's like,
Yeah,
look, he said I created Thor. So because I had the strongest man alive, in the Hulk. And so I wanted to create something that was stronger. And so I created a god, in
yeah,
Thor.
yeah, yeah,
Took the
yeah, yeah.
mythos of, the Norse legend, and I made him more of a superhero as opposed to like you know the version that he is in Norse mythology and everything like that. But shit, what were we talking about? We were talking about, oh yeah, Bruce Banner. But yeah, like that's a great character. I mean, think about that. That's a wildly interesting character. If you were to just tell that to somebody with no background and they didn't know who the Incredible Hulk was, there's no other information. You're just like, hey, I got this idea for a character. I want to see what you think. Okay, on one end, he's like this very, like, soft, like kind of humble, quiet person, very brilliant, but, never get in a fight. In fact, he'd probably be the one getting bullied. But because
Exactly.
of that, it leads to him having a lot of anger and resentment stored up inside of him. Then when he gets hit with gamma rays, it releases that anger beast out of him, and it manifests itself in this giant green Goliath. I mean, somebody'd be like, dude, that's a hell of a character. I mean, they might not like it or think, oh, it's kind of silly, but they're like, that you put a lot of thought into that. That
Exactly.
kind of says
Exactly.
a lot. I mean, it's very much like what's that character's name? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Exactly.
It's like, I think that one's more of an allegory on alcoholism, where he drinks a substance and he becomes a monster, and everything like that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but
Okay.
like this, he becomes a monster, because of his anger and and resentment, and then like obviously the gamma rays release the monster, everything. But he's a hero too, which makes him even more interesting. But he can also be an anti-hero too. So it's like there's a lot of complexity to Hulk, like a lot of complexity that people don't realize, and that's why he's been around for like 60 something years and he's still popular.
And I'll be happy when they get his character right and give him his own
Yeah.
solo movies now with because the Avengers is like everybody's getting a chance to shine, and they got him out here. They got She-Hulk, but not the real Hulk. Like we got to come on. We got to give the Hulk his own. Come on, we got to get this man his just due. Iron Man got movies. Captain America. Come on now, Thor, Loki got a show. Let's get the Incredible Hulk. Can my man get a show? That's all. I mean, can he get his own movie? Can we work it out?
Yeah.
And people are showing you love, sir. Thank you, DJ G Smooth. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments and showing love. Everybody around the world. And thank you again, sir. Where can we find you on social media?
Basically Instagram and TikTok, but mainly TikTok. In a couple months, I will start posting a lot more on Instagram. But for the most part right now, it's primarily TikTok. I try to do 2 videos a week.
Okay.
And so yeah, on TikTok, and like I said before, my name, the only Eric Stayberg on earth, so I'm not hard to find, and you'll just see a big goofy face, and everything, and you'll find me there, and yeah, follow me, and yeah, absolutely, love to entertain you guys.
We appreciate it. And DJ G Smooth says Thanos. The Gentleman's Journal says great interview. Thank you all for watching. Oh, Yahweh, my brother. Thank you. And thank you, DJ J Smooth. Can we get Thanos? Do you do Thanos?
I don't.
Okay.
I want to work on him, but yeah, he's a fascinating character. But no, unfortunately I don't. I just embarrass myself if I tried it.
Okay. Any superheroes? Do you do any superheroes?
I've been trying to work on a Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
Because not as many people do it. I'm definitely not quite there. Like, I mean, I was like, I can get kind of like the Aussie accent down and like, make his, voice deep, but I'm not quite at Thor yet. Hopefully in the next couple months, I'll be able to post a Thor video and everything like that, a Thor impression video. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. We look forward to it. Hope this is just an introduction to our audience and to you. So we got to bring you back for more breakdowns of just movies in general, acting, and anytime you're welcome to come to the People's Podcast. This means a lot to myself, my family, and you in the audience of People's Podcast. Thank you very much, sir. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off. Thank you. You have a great rest of your evening. Thank you all for staying up late with us. Everybody who's on the East Coast time, thank y'all for staying up late with us.